He has not expressed the same passion that Stanton has, to put it mildly. But at the same time, it's tough to release guys with that much money left.
Ken, shouldn't you be at a game right now?
Why?
I should be, AJ, but I'm here with you, aren't I?
Well, no, but I'm just wondering because, like, are you at the hotel like across the street from a certain stadium? You can just open your window and it like opens into the left field.
I am not, but I was just at that stadium, which was Wrigley Field, and I returned to my hotel room, and now I'm going to do some work while I watch the game.
There you go. All right, so
I recognize that hotel.
I know you do.
don't say the room number.
I'm not going to say where he's at.
Don't say it. All right, Ken, let's start with your freshest article. The Diamondbacks versus the Rangers for the Jordan Montgomery sweepstakes. Can you give us a little sneak peek of what you put together in The Athletic?
Sure. Basically, I called the Diamondbacks owner, Ken Kendrick, and I said, okay, you had already spent a good amount of money this offseason. How are you able to spend more on Montgomery late when so many teams, including the Rangers, your World Series opponent, were not willing to do that? And he took me through it, and it was kind of interesting. He said basically the revenues they received from the World Series last year, which were completely unexpected, their run of 17 playoff games, that got them a certain amount of money that was essentially found money. Then they had season ticket sales that increased from 10,000 to 30,000, up to 13,000. It's about an increase of 30%, 10,000 to 13,000. And then single game sales were also up. And they knew this because they went on sale, those single game tickets, around February 1st. Through February and March, that momentum was building, and they knew they had a little extra money to play with. So you put that all together. My estimate on their World Series revenue is about $30 million. Then you get the increase in season tickets at higher ticket prices, individual game sales at higher ticket prices because they raised them slightly, and they felt comfortable. Now, the question then is, okay, why didn't the Rangers do this? This is a team that spent more money than the Diamondbacks, generally speaking, year after year. And it came down to a combination of their owner, Ray Davis, telling the Dallas Morning News that they're worried about the future of their regional sports network and what was going to happen without that network and once they get into the streaming era. The same problem that the Diamondbacks face, by the way. And they're also worried, and this is more pertinent perhaps, about the luxury tax. They were past the second threshold. If they had gone past the third, then it would have cost them a draft pick, or at least moved their draft pick back 10 slots, first rounder. And those were concerns that they had. They had already spent a ton of money the last 2 years, so they just felt it wasn't appropriate for them, or their owner felt that anyway. I just thought it was interesting kind of comparing the two and hearing why the Diamondbacks felt comfortable in signing Jordan Montgomery to a 1 year, $25 million deal that could grow to 2 years, 25 or 2 years, 50 if he exercises a player option that would have to vest.
How refreshing is it though, Ken, to hear an owner be like, "Oh, I made $30 million. I'm going to reinvest it back into my team instead of going, oh, I'm just going to pocket this and save it for my grandchildren. You know, once I'm gone." Like, this is refreshing to hear a team owner actually say this out loud. Like, "Hey, we made money. The fans showed up. Now we're going to put it back into the team for you fans."
Right, and Ken Kendrick's position is that they are a zero cash flow operation. Whatever money comes in, they put it back into the team. I will say there is no way to verify that he's not actually making money off the team. They don't open their books, these teams, because they're private enterprises. But that is generally the way he says he has operated. And certainly in this case he did, because they had extra money. And yes, he definitely spent more money this offseason. Their payroll is a record by, I don't know, some $30 million or something. So, yes, they definitely have done it in a way that most fans would say is satisfying.
So is this because we heard from their ownership, hey, we want to move our stadium. You know, we need new stadium, whatever, location, or we need renovations that we're not willing to spend on. What is, because we saw this kind of a influx of money in Kansas City, they want to move. Does it have anything to do with that? When you talk to him about new stadium relocation, does it have anything to, is that connected?
First of all, they're not talking about a relocation. They're talking about renovations. And Eric, it's a good question. I didn't include it in the article because I didn't think it was relevant to this particular issue. But what Kendrick told me was that they have asked their county, Maricopa County in Arizona, to give them money for renovations. At the same time, they are willing to put in a certain amount of money as well. I believe he said the renovations would be something like 400 to 500 million, and the team is willing to put in something along the lines of 250 to 300. I don't know those numbers exactly off the top of my head, something in that range. So I don't know if that really is influencing them at all with regard to how they're running their team this season. But yes, Chase Field is, I believe, the third oldest of the newer ballparks, and they want to do some things to it to update it. It's been around since 1998. How that all transpires, whether indeed they talk about moving at some point, I don't know. But he stressed to me that he is an Arizonan. He moved there a long time ago, and he has no intention of moving the team. And I said, well, some people perceive what you're saying as a threat. And he said, it's not a threat. I'm just saying we need these renovations, and I'm willing to put in hundreds of millions to do that.
And if there's really a problem, Ken, you can always just move to a minor league park for a little bit. That's cool now. So we spoke about it. Hey, if we're going to be a joke as a sport with this situation, might as well have fun with it, because clearly a lot of people that are in charge don't care about it. So you covered this in Fair Territory when the news broke. We've talked about it since, but a lot has happened even since from the information side of things. I know you've written about it, Evan Drellick, too. So what have you learned since the news broke about Sacramento?
Certainly, it's going to be really impactful, not just to the fans in Oakland, but to the employees of the Oakland A's who are not able to shift to Sacramento. And Evan Drellick wrote about this today, I believe. And Dave Cavill, the team president, admitted there are going to be people who lose their jobs. So there's not just the cost in the emotional value of the team to the community, but there is an actual human cost in jobs. As for the whole situation, Scott, I did say my piece on Fair Territory, but I'll say it again. It is an embarrassment to baseball that they're in this position. I'm sorry. You can't go to a 14,000 seat stadium for 3 years and tell me this is a good thing. And for that matter, you can't even tell me for certain that this move to Las Vegas, one, is going to happen, and two, is a good thing. We're not quite so sure about that. So, from a global perspective, the way this has been handled by the league and by the team, in my view, is very distasteful. And it is wrong. It should not have happened this way. And it'll be interesting to see whether they entertain Oakland as an expansion possibility down the line here once we get to that. Because Oakland continues to insist that they want a team. They continue to insist, and I'm talking about the city people, the city officials, that they can line up new owners. They continue to insist that they have a stadium plan. MLB has dismissed all this and not taken it seriously. And perhaps they're right. Perhaps the plans aren't as solid as the Oakland people would make you believe that they are. But we're talking about one of the 10 largest markets, television markets, in the country. You're leaving that market for a much smaller market, for number 40. You're stopping at number 20, Sacramento, which is actually a bigger television market than Las Vegas. The owners seem good with it. The commissioner seems good with it. We'll see how it all transpires.
Ken, we were talking a little bit earlier on the show before you got on. What would covering a playoff series be like there in Sacramento? How would they do that? What would playing there be like? How could they manage to fit in all the fans that wanted to come, or they can't? The minor league stadium is probably just not probably. It's just not built to hold that capacity for that big of an ordeal.
Jason, I'm not so worried about the A's.
I mean, I that's what it was said the same way. It was prefaced the same way before you were on.
The greater point to me is it's not a major league quality facility for the players who are going to be playing there. Now, I know it's a nice minor league stadium. Great. They did a great job, whatever. But with major league ballparks, there are certain amenities that are expected. And you can make the case that the Oakland Coliseum is not a major league ballpark the way it should be. But this is the league and the team opting for this. And if I'm the MLBPA, I'm screaming my head off about this. Then they might be. We don't know. They're being very kind of quiet about this so far, other than to say that they've voiced their concerns. But What about the batting cages? What about the clubhouses? What about all of the things, all of the accoutrements that players are accustomed to now? And frankly, playing at the highest level, deserve. Where are those things going to be? How is that all going to play out? I'm not feeling great about it.
And the follow up here, Ken, is if you're not worried about playoff baseball in Sacramento and how embarrassing it looks that we have minor league ballparks hosting playoff baseball, and that means it would go against their promise of heading to Vegas with tons of momentum, higher payroll, great team. I joked earlier, oh, you're going to go to Vegas where it's so hard to attract. There are so many things to do. And you're going to have a crappy team. It's either that or we're going to see playoff ball in Sacramento, right? The last year before they leave, they're either good or they're not. So you're either going to have momentum for tickets or you're not. There's not going to be much in between. So curious for your thoughts on that. And John Fisher only knowing about Aaron Judge and excited to see him bash homers against his own pitchers.
Well, that comment was roundly received in a negative fashion, and it should have been. It was ridiculous. Now, they have discussed internally, and I've reported this, plans to ramp up the payroll to the 130 to 150 million dollar range in this period in Sacramento, and then get to Las Vegas at about 170. I've said this, I've written it, and I will say it again. I'll believe it when I see it. And the A's talk a lot about what they're going to do. They've talked a lot for years about what they're going to do. And we'll see if it all works out the way they claim it's going to work out. I'm suspicious, needless to say. And we don't know how their TV deal, which paid them approximately $70 million a year when they're in the Bay Area, and now it will be adjusted and downward because they're in Sacramento. We don't know what effect that will have on their plans. So, again, I'll believe it when I see it, and I want to see it. And honestly, guys, the commissioner has spoken very positively about this move, basically presented Oakland as not an option for the A's. Okay, but this is going to be on him too, because this is Major League Baseball, and approving this move and approving all of that which it entails. And again, we'll see how it works out. We'll see.
Ken, since they're in a minor league stadium, how are they going to, I love the air quotes, sign major league players to go there? There's not going to be a big league free agent that's a big star and is like, yeah, I'm going to go play in Sacramento in a 10,000 seat stadium, right? So they're going to either have to, A, overpay, which the A's don't do, or they're going to be the same old A's and have a $40, $50 million payroll, right? There's no way. If you're a big time, if you're, I don't know, if you're Corbin Burns and the A's come to you and say, hey, here's 10 years, 300, and you're like, and you have another one from another team, you're like, man, I got to go play in a minor league stadium for 4 years possibly? Won't they have to overpay a lot to get anybody to go there?
Two things on this, AJ. There are many ways to increase payroll. Actually, there's one other way to increase payroll besides signing free agents. And that, actually two other ways. You can sign extensions with your own players, right? And I guess more applicable here, you can trade for expensive players and go about it that way. That is a possibility. But when it comes to major league free agents, you're absolutely right. If there is a better option, you're going to take that better option at a similar offer. Now, the question is, if they do overpay and if they do decide, okay, we'll give you player X 5 years at $15 million per year, 5 years, 75, when he really in the market probably only is going to go 3 times 10, 3 years, $30 million. That's a way a player would get there, right? If you're getting $45 million more or even $10 million more, you might take that deal because maybe you're extending that contract into the period in Las Vegas when they're going to open their ballpark, and theoretically there will be excitement. So players understandably at times go for the money, and if the A's offer that money, sure, they'll get players. But again, it's not going to be anyone's first choice, I would imagine.
Ken, give us a sneak peek into what you're working on for tomorrow with the game, the Dodgers, Cubs. Is there a more marquee game this weekend?
The rest of the schedule, but we've got Yamamoto tomorrow, so I'm really excited to see him pitch in person. I saw him once in spring, but this is the regular season now, and that was one of the things, obviously, I was focusing on today, but AJ knows this. When I go in on a Friday, I try to talk to as many people as possible and collect as many notes as possible for use on the broadcast if guys like AJ will let me talk, and that doesn't always happen.
Oh, that is such bull crap. I can't even begin to explain it. We don't have enough time to explain how much bull crap that completely is. But there's two things I want to know. One,
What's the bullcrap that I get to talk as much as I want?
know that I don't let you talk. That's
That is
bullcrap.
bullcrap. Yeah, I was
Thank you.
making that up.
Appreciate that. Okay, now the two things I want to talk to you about besides that is how did you get to go on the road? Because I don't think the other broadcasters are there. So what kind of pull do you have on Fox, certain people, to get to actually go?
I do what I'm told, man. That's all.
Good soldier. I like it.
I'm texting certain people as we speak, and I'm like,
Go
hey,
ahead, text him.
Well, he's the
It's not like
reporter.
I'm sitting
though.
there
Yeah, but-
pressuring the people from Fox. You need to send me on the road.
Oh, see, I think exactly what you're doing.
That face for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
I've
threatens
got a lot of
anybody.
pull.
And then where's dinner tonight?
Probably in my room, AJ.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I know a guy. He's right below me. I can get you into Gibson's reservation for one.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. But I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I got one more for Ken. We were going to cover this. Maybe we'll cover this right after you give your answer, and then we'll let you jump. So some fans have been asking us about Anthony Rendon and Giancarlo Stanton. Both of them have had slow starts. It's more of a prediction question here to start is, do you think if they struggle immensely, it could get to a point where the team tries to approach one of these players to see what they can do about it? In Giancarlo's case, some Yankee fans have asked us about when Jason Dominguez comes back. In Anthony Rendon's case, he's 0 for 19. All the stuff that he said, it's just been bad vibes. I know he's got a lot of time left. Just curious if you think this could be a year where one of those players ends up getting bought out or DFA'd.
I can't rule it out, but while I don't have the contracts in front of me, there is a lot of money left on both. And teams generally don't like to eat contracts. I will say this, to me, they're different situations entirely. Stanton is a guy who has at least verbalized how much he cares, and how much he wants to get better, and how much he is fed up with what has happened the last couple of years. He took great pains this offseason to get himself in a different kind of physical condition. He was always in great shape, but he's leaner. He wants to stay healthier, and it's a bad start. Let's see if it continues before really passing judgment. Rendon, you can say the same thing. A bad start is a bad start. We're talking about a week's worth of games. He has not expressed the same passion that Stanton has, to put it mildly, but at the same time, it's tough to release guys with that much money left, especially when you don't have a better alternative. Now, if the Yankees, once Dominguez is ready, feel like their best team is with Dominguez and they've got to pay Stanton anyway, you might as well just eat the money, I guess. But Boone has been pretty adamant, even of late, saying when Giancarlo Stanton is right, he is a force. And we know that. He is. So it's really difficult for me to imagine them taking that step. Rendon, I don't see it either, and I want to give him more time as well. I just can't rule out a guy or start talking like this after a week's worth of games. But both situations, definitely something to watch.
Yep. Rendon has the shorter contract length left. His is through 2026. So you got 3 years, including this one, left on that deal.
Dude,
But
some of the tweets, some of the memes, whatever you want to call it, about Rendon, like the one with like Noah Shanwell was in
that
college.
we just showed. Yeah.
But there's like, it keeps popping up on my Twitter feed. Sorry, Anthony Rendon spray chart, and it's the field and there's no dots on it because he hasn't gotten a hit.
Yes.
It's like so
That was
bad.
messed up.
It's
Yeah.
so messed up because we've all been there, but it's just like
It's just it's the guy that you wanted to see get off to at least an okay start. Right?
because of what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
And also, guys, they need him.
yes,
The team is built
He's hitting
around
leadoff.
Trout being healthy and good. And when they're not healthy and good, it's a problem. Now, they've played a little bit better since that team meeting. I'll give them a lot of credit. I thought that was crazy to have a team meeting after 2 games, but Wash called it. And again, give them credit because they have played better, granted, against the Marlins. But they need Rendon to be good to be the kind of team that they want to be.
Oh, that was funny.
Right. Hey, you got to say it. The Marlins are 0-8, so it's.
I know,
against
but
the
it's just
Marlins.
funny how he's like, they played better against the Marlins.
Well,
bad team
hey,
right now.
quality of competition matters, guys, especially this time.
Not
of
according
year.
to Scott. Not
That is-
according to
that is-
Scott.
That is troll comments. I'm the one last year that's like, I love the Rays start, but they're not the best team ever.
Right.
And look what
That
happened.
was a good example the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. They were
Let's
good, not great.
let's ask this question: will Mike
gotta
Trout hit a home run with somebody on base this year? That's the question.
I'll
I
take the
believe
over.
he will. He's off to a good start, AJ.
He's off to I know, but he's got 3
Sorry,
homers,
him.
3 RBIs.
Not
Yeah.
exactly his fault.
No,
No,
RBIs don't matter, Ken. RBIs don't
Guys.
matter.
RBIs do matter.
They do.
Yeah, Ken's on our side. AJ's on one right now.
As
I'm
as
just
always.
mad he's in Chicago and I didn't get invited. That's what I'm mad
Oh,
about.
a nice 45 degrees for first pitch, I think, tomorrow. Ken, stay warm. We'll watch you on the game tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Ken Rosenthal, star of Fair Territory, back on Monday. And the live show is every Thursday at 12:30 Eastern Time, hosted by Ken and new co-host Alana Rizzo. Grill and Ken answers your fan questions. He usually puts out a tweet asking for your fan questions. And then also during the show, we take some YouTube chat comments.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.